It is time to smoke.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Because I'm ready. Let's go. Welcome to the channel, my friends. I am so excited to talk to you guys today. Yeah, let's just get started. We're talking about being good enough or feeling good enough. Me personally, I've had a whole experience with this. I grew up, I don't know if you can kind of see, it's mostly gone away, but I had really bad eczema to the point where like in kindergarten, I'd be bleeding, I'd have skin all over my desk, and the other kids in my class would think it was gross, you know, because there's some kid like bleeding all over his desk. So, you know, my peers at a young age didn't want to be friends with me, and that made me feel bad about myself. It made me feel like I'm not good enough. So that trauma kind of carried on through the rest of my life. And I want to share with you what has helped me the most to start feeling better about myself, and maybe it'll help you, or maybe not. But let's just go. So you exist, okay? And I know, oh, that's unrelated. No, it's not, isn't it? Your existence is always related. So, existence is good enough. When you look at the trees, the clouds, the stars, the planets, bugs, is any of it not good enough? I mean, are there any clouds that are shaped wrong? Are there any trees that have branches growing in the wrong direction? Are there any poorly made stars and planets and galaxies? Fuck no. There's no poorly made humans either. There's no humans that are not good enough. This idea of this hierarchy of like, here's the people that are good enough and here's the people that are not good enough, blah, 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 blah. This does not exist. This only exists in our heads. You exist, and that's good enough. You are no worse than the trees and the clouds and the plants and the animals and the stars. All of it is existence, and all of it is beautiful just as it is. Now, when I say that you are good enough and you don't need to be better, some people take that and they say, well then, aren't you just not gonna grow in life? Because some people's source of motivation is feeling like they're not good enough. So they try to become better, say, I'm not good enough, and this is my fuel to grow in life. I think it's great that they're growing in life. I am super growth minded. I think life is all about growth. However, I think it is an unhealthy source of motivation to grow because you're not good enough. You don't have to grow because you need to be better and you're not good enough. You grow because it is beautiful to grow, because that is life. Life is growth. Life is change. I love the metaphor, I think it's by Alan Watts, and he says that the oak tree is no better than the acorn. So, when an oak tree grows to become this acorn, when an acorn grows to become this oak tree, it's not telling itself, I'm just this measly little acorn, and if only I was grown like an oak tree, then I would be good enough. No. An acorn just grows, just to grow, because it's beautiful and wonderful to grow. So I believe that our growth is the same way. You don't have to do it. You are already good enough. You grow because it's just lovely. So let's take this a step further, right? What is the very idea of being good enough? Where does that come from? This idea of good enough and this hierarchy of some people are better than others and blah, 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 comes from the ego. See, the ego makes our worth in life conditional. When somebody likes your picture, you start feeling good about yourself. But if you didn't get that many likes, now you start feeling bad about yourself. So the ego says that what happens in my external reality determines how I should feel about myself. So how do we stop this ego from doing that? Look, this is something that everyone is trying to figure out. I'll share with you what's helped me the most, and that is meditation. And the reason, I'll tell you why. Because when you meditate, you go back to pure consciousness. And what I mean by that is, who we are is not our ego. Your ego is not you. You feel like it's you, but it's not the real you. The real you is your pure awareness, your pure consciousness of your thoughts, of your feelings, of your five senses, of your ego. It's your awareness of the things. So, when you meditate, you get in a space where you no longer feel so connected and attached to that ego, and you just feel true to your core. That ego is the thing that didn't feel good enough, that thought that you had to be some sort of way in order to be good enough. But when you're true to your core, that pure consciousness, this idea of good enough, not good enough, it just doesn't even exist anymore. You feel good about yourself just for existing, just for being. You didn't have to do anything to feel better. You just are. And that's okay. That's good enough. And another thing that happens when you're separated from your ego and you're in touch with that pure consciousness, your intuition comes through. And the reason I really want to point this out is because you don't have to force yourself to grow. Growing happens naturally when you just trust your intuition. You just go with that. But the thing is, when you're very in touch with your ego, you're very wrapped up in it, your intuition gets hidden. And instead, all you see is your ego's desires. I want this, I want to be better, and then in fears, right? And that covers and masks your true deep intuition, your true gut feeling of what you should do. When you meditate and you separate yourself from the ego, that intuition just comes through and you can spontaneously follow it without even having to hesitate. You can just follow that intuition, and when you do that, growth just happens. You don't have to say, I need to make sure I'm growing. No, when you're in touch with your nature and you're just spontaneously acting with your nature, you just naturally grow without even trying to do it. So meditate, guys. That's the key. That's been the key for me. Like I said, I grew up with a trauma that really made me not feel good about myself. And the number one thing that's helped is meditation. It's gotten me out of touch with that ego, that ego that thought I need to be this certain way in order to be good enough. And it's gotten me back in touch with who I truly am, which allows me to be present in the moment and just experience life as it is. And that's okay, and that's good enough. And when I do this, I just grow without even trying. So I hope this helped you guys out. I'm really excited to make more videos for y'all. And yeah, I love you.